What I wanted to study were insects, but I wanted to study them as an anthropologist, not as a biologist. And I was trying to figure out if there was, when I started, I was trying to figure out if there was a way that I could actually, well, I was trying to figure out if I could actually find a way to talk about insects and to think about insects as insects. And the only way I could think about how to do that or figure out how to do that was actually by looking at times and places where humans and insects had interesting interactions. So in fact, it turned out to be a book about encounters between humans and insects, but that wasn't really what I planned when I first started it. I suppose if I had to boil it down, I'd say that insects are especially fascinating in that regard because they create such intense reactions amongst people and so much ambivalence. So we really have a hard time figuring out how to think about them and what they are. They're really they're just so different from us, and they're so unknowable, and that's what makes them really interesting. So you know, for a long time, people have projected onto them so much of their fears and their desires and their yearnings, and also, you know, these, you know, the social insects. So many ideas about society have been worked out on them, and social organization, this kind of thing. So it's actually endless. I mean, that's sort of what I found. I didn't intend to write such a big book, you know, but it's just endless. And I could have gone on and written another one probably. I don't think they do really, except to the extent that we project onto them and they reflect it back to us. So they're available, you know, like, I suppose like some movie stars are, you know, to just reflect back on us whatever it is that we want to project onto them. So it's been almost, you know, it's really been almost anything over the centuries. But in terms of what insects themselves are and what they do, I think they're probably entirely indifferent to us. You know, no matter that we really, you know, shape their lives and condition their lives in so many ways, I think they've probably got very little. There's no sign that they have any particular interest in us. You know, that's part of the reason why it's so hard to write about them. But I don't know that we're very good at it. I mean, with the social insects, people have done that like crazy, you know, and taken models for human society from them. But with individual insects, it's harder. They don't seem to respond to us at all. But there was a time when people didn't feel like that. And I imagine in other places people don't feel like that. So, you know, at the turn of the 20th century, like 100 years ago, around that time, it was only around that time that people started thinking of flies as nuisances. Before that, you know, house flies, before that they thought of them as friends. And, you know, mothers would encourage their children to have flies around them as like companions. You know, even when they were eating, there was no association of flies with disease until the early part of the 20th century. So at that time, there was a lot of, you know, sort of positive anthropomorphizing of them. I mean, I guess we do it with, like, well, in Britain where I'm from, we do it with ladybugs, you know. But, you know, it's a little perverse because, you know, what we're supposed to say to them is, you know, this thing, ladybird, ladybird, fly away home, your house is on fire, your children are gone. Which is, you know, a little, it's not quite, you know, it's not a very friendly thing to say to them, but at the same time, we really like them, you know. So I guess we do it with some, the pretty ones maybe.